Hey everyone, my name is Christopher Loki. I'm 30 years old. I'm an epileptic from California. I am making my 1-month tea video. I mainly wanted to start doing this for my family because they live all the way in Oregon, so they can't really see the changes that I'm going through while being on tea. And I wanted them not to worry because my father will worry and I'm a daddy's boy, so the last thing I want to do is let him worry. I also wanted to do this for people who are still having a hard time with coming out to their family as transgendered, or their friends, for that matter. Because, you know, there's always that fear of, am I going to be rejected? Am I going to be accepted? What's going to happen? And I just wanted to be able to be another support system out there for them.
So how was it coming out to your family?
Coming out to my family was probably more interesting than coming out to my friends. My dad was very nonchalant on how accepting I was of it, to the point where he was just like, well, duh, I could have told you that, you know. And when I asked him why, he sat there and said, because, you know, you never liked being a girl. You always wanted to be a guy. You didn't like having long hair, wearing dresses. You know, you always just want to do things that your brothers would do, for example.
So you felt more comfortable always being a man?
Yes, most definitely. Coming out to my biological mom, on the other hand, I was really afraid of that. I wasn't sure how she was going to take it. We've had some issues in our past that kind of made it a little wonky for me. She's got a very heavy Christian background, so I wasn't sure if she was just going to be like, well, I can't have you in my life because of this, this, and this, and I don't agree with it because of this, this, and this. And instead, she pretty much did the same thing my dad did, and was just like, well, duh, which was great. I felt a lot better. Hers was a little funnier because she felt the need to point out that she always thought that God made a mistake by, you know, when it came down to my half-brother being born in me, like we were put in the wrong bodies, for example. So that was pretty interesting. I was pretty happy with that.
How was it coming out to your friends?
Coming out to my friends was, I want to say, controversial, because some people were very accepting of it. They pretty much did the same thing my parents did. You know, my partner has been a great support system for me along this journey, and I can't thank her enough for that. I had some friends that were very much like, you know, hey, you know, we're glad you finally, came to terms with yourself. You know, we're glad that you're finally being who we always knew you were. Other friends kind of were like, you know, it's just a fad. Within the next month, you're going to move on to something else. Da 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 da. So it became I was really uneasy around those friends for a while. Now that they see that this is really going on, that nothing's changing except for towards my transition, they've come around a lot easier than I thought they would.
Okay. So what are some of the changes you've noticed? Especially with your epilepsy.
I'm sorry. I would say the biggest change is definitely has to do with my epilepsy. I haven't had any seizures or seizure feelings, which is a big deal for me. My eyes have stopped fluttering as much as they used to, which was pretty much on a daily basis. So that's nice.
Yeah, we haven't noticed any at all in at least 2 weeks.
And that's good. For me, that's a record for sure. I don't really know what else to say on that right now.
What about your increase in appetite or anything?
My increase in appetite, that was crazy, to say the least. Within my first week of tea, I will say I probably ate a lot more than I did before I ever started tea.
Yeah, you ate out of house and home.
Right? I'm trying to keep that kind of tamed down so that I could take better care of myself health-wise.
Okay. Now, as far as your health, what about like exercise and things like that? I have done some weight training, plus, you know, like your ab work and whatnot. I'm kind of slacking off right now, I'll admit that. But I plan on getting back into my bike rides and getting back into working out, just because A, it's healthier for me, and B, it'll be a lot easier to see the differences in my body since I've been on tea versus when I was just estrogen. Okay, now what about your energy levels?
Oh God, don't get me started on energy levels. My energy levels are through the roof. It's very much a roller coaster, as my partner would put it, because I have moments where I'm just like high energy, and then I have moments where I'm just like chill, and then back up, and then down, and then up. So it's really difficult, especially at nighttime, because I don't go to bed at a decent hour now, because I have a hard time going to sleep. But then I get up early in the morning, like around like 7 or 8. So I would say a lack of sleep has definitely been a factor since I've been on TV.
Okay. What about any physical changes, like maybe acne or oilier skin?
No, I got lucky. I have the oilier skin thing going on, but so far I've gotten lucky. I haven't broken out much. That's part of my dad's genetics, I guess, because he didn't break out much when he went through puberty. And he also said lots of sex helps.
Which brings me to, how's your sex drive?
Oh, God. If you were to ask my partner that before I started T, she would have told you, But now that I've started T, it's high. It's high, and it gets higher and higher with each shot. So, it's definitely interesting. Sex is a big thing.
Okay, what about other changes as far as, like, I don't know how you would say it.
Body odor?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Changes in the body odor. Definitely stronger. You definitely notice the difference when you've been living your life as a female with all the estrogen, and the difference between your body smells as a female versus once the T hits as a male. Definitely a lot stronger, just so you know.
Okay. What about mood swings?
Mood swings. I would say, as far as mood swings go, if you had met me before I started T, I had a very, very, very short fuse. I was upset about even the smallest fucking things. Oh, sorry. My bad. I would have to say that my mood swings have gotten better. We have noticed that when it's the day before I take my shot, I'm like grrr about everything.
The day of.
And the day of my shot. But once I've had my shot, my fuse seems to be way better than it was before.
Again, you're talking about like just not being as angry and edgy,
yeah,
right?
I'm not as angry and edgy, that's for sure.
Okay, what about like an increase in strength? Have you noticed anything like that?
Yeah. But, no, yeah. I mean, a few days ago, we went to get our stuff out of storage, and I remember when we first packed it up, a lot of the boxes that I picked up that day, when we first packed it up, I couldn't have done by myself, without hurting myself. When we went to go get stuff, it was a lot easier for me to carry the bigger boxes and get them all set up and take them down to the truck and load them, and help load them up. So I want to say yeah, but I also don't know how much of that's the T or my working out. So I'm going to say both.
Well, I think it mostly has to do with the T because of the fact that, you know, you were working out at Mom's house. You know, you did slack off a little bit, but you still kind of maintained a semi-regular exercise of sorts.
Right.
You know, whether it was riding bikes or, you know, fishing, hiking, things like that.
Fishing and
whoever's
hiking.
calling is going to have to wait. So I think that part of it does have to do with the T.
Yeah, I think I agree. By the way, fishing, when you go with a friend who likes to hike, it's a great form of freaking exercise.
What about things to help with your transition, like your binder or your Pakis, things like that?
Well,
let's start with your binder.
I do have a binder. Actually, it's kind of like a sports bra one. It has Velcro on the side.
Do you want to show it?
No, not really. maybe later. So yeah, I mean, it's a pain in the butt. The binder that I have, especially with my being top heavy like I am, I have to have my partner's help doing it, which is frustrating for both of us, I'm sure. I am hoping, you know, I'm wanting to look into getting one of the, you know, pullover binders. That way, if there's times where my partner's not around, I can just take care of it myself.
Or you actually let me sleep in for a change.
Oh, that too, yeah. Very true.
Okay, now what about, like, Pakis?
Well, I've
Are
had
there
mine.
different kinds of Pakis?
There's a lot of different kinds I found out in my research. The one I have
is a soft pack,
is a soft pack, which I've had for, like, ages, I guess you could say. There's the bendy, which I would like to get because it's good for more than one reason. Let's just put it that way.
A bendy is one that's
you can pack with it, but
you can pack with it. You know, it's like general daily stuff.
Yeah.
But when you get all hot and bothered,
you
then it's just like.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that
it's
right
a multi-purpose.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, don't they have like pee Pakis?
They do. They're called prosthetics. I don't have one right now. A lot of it's finances because they aren't very cheap. So, I mean, maybe one day I'll have one. It'd be kind of nice to go in the men's bathroom without having to go sit in the stall. It's kind of weird.
Well, you still kind of have to go in the stall anyway.
True, but at least I won't have to sit down.
Yeah. Now, how exactly does that work?
I couldn't give you that information. You would have to look it up online because I haven't read enough about them. So. That's
okay, but it just makes it able for you to
pee while standing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What other kind of things can you think of that could be helpful as far as like appearances go? I mean, can they still use like an ACE bandage?
They can. Yeah, you could use an ACE bandage. The only negative thing I've really heard about the ACE bandages is that if you do them too tight, you could crack a rib or some other kind of internal injury. But when you don't have a binder, that's your next best bet, Unless you have a flatter chest, then you can just wear a bunch of like a couple tank tops and you're good.
Okay. I can't really think of anything else. I don't think there was anything else because we covered the sleeping and everything, so
yeah. So
I don't think there were any more changes that you had.
So at this moment, I can say that a lot of the changes that I'm going through right now, outside of smell and I would guess sex drive.
Not really smell, it's more like odor.
Or odor. I'm sorry, that sounded bad. A lot of the stuff that I'm noticing seems to be a little bit more internal than physical. Like in outer appearances, which I'm okay with, because internally I'm starting to feel more comfortable with myself. I've gotten to the point where I can feel more comfortable with my partner looking at my body the way that it is now versus the way it will be once top surgery happens, which probably won't happen for a while. So.
Well, I never had a problem looking at you.
I know. It's just that's the thing. She never had a problem looking at me. It was my own, I guess you'd say, self-consciousness would probably be the right word.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't complain. So far, everything is going well. And I look forward to having more to share with you guys next month. With that said, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video and that you have a fantastic day. Peace.